All right, should be popping up here in just a second. There it is. How's it going, everybody? This is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. Let's see, Wednesday edition. 2-game slate, unbalanced schedule this week. What can you do? Last night, really kind of a weird slate, and then we got some scoring at the very end of the 10 Eastern games. So a lot happened at the end, but that was really it. I mean, pretty boring slate, honestly. I somehow snuck away with the profit, so chalking that one up to just things running well at the end for me. But Winnipeg one was disappointing. Devils one was really disappointing. Actually, Winnipeg was more disappointing. At least Devils one got a goal. I'm trying to think who else. Colorado, Dallas. Those are two lines I was on. So we'll get into it. Still ended up being kind of we saw a couple 150 maxers, and myself included, up near the top. You were right, Corsi. Winnipeg one was a trap. Should have listened to you. Would have actually, won something huge last night. Oh yeah, Islanders one was terrible. That was the problem. Every other line was bad too. So we'll get into it. We will. Can you guys see my screen here? I think you can. Yeah. Okay. Let me fix that so I can keep Slack up and see the chat if need be. Okay. We'll talk about lineup construction, all that good stuff. I've got Yahoo up on the screen. They've got some pretty cool NBA contests. 10K to first tonight. And speaking of NBA, I'm actually playing some NBA tonight. So not only am I just going to be pimping out our free content that we have, but I'm actually going to be taking advantage of it tonight because it's only 2 games. I think there might be some late news in NHL, but I think it's going to take only a couple minutes for me to crunch, and then I'll move over to NBA and try to be like Alex and Tom, and I think Eddie plays a bunch of NBA, and all the pros, Brick, those type of guys. So I'll see on a much smaller level. Whatever. There's nothing else for me to do tonight besides play two DFS sports. So anyways, long form of me saying go play on Yahoo. NHL short slate, but they still have some decent contests for it. They're running out kind of their normal $12, $200 to first. This has been a really profitable tournament for a couple of our subscribers, taking advantage of the low management fees and all that good stuff. Same thing. I had the $10 pulled up, more top heavy, but 10K to first on Yahoo here, 12% management fee. Tough to beat that. And then they've got tournaments at various price points. So I'm probably going to pop in a couple of Yahoo lineups as well. Try to build up the bankroll for NFL, which is the main event, you could call it. 250K baller, 25K to first, $10 entry fee, 150 max, small management fee in comparison to other sites. A lot of good stuff going on over at Yahoo, so we thank them for sponsoring us, and go support them when you do use promo code OSMO for up to $30 of Yahoo Sports rewards points. That is free cash on Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, so you can read Emacs primetime articles if you want to see more about that. Okay, free stuff today. Sorry, I kind of just throw stuff at you guys right away, but 2-game slate, so we're gonna have extra time anyways. But what we have today for free, NFL DFS projections. So if you wanted to run some crunches or try out our projections, these are free today. So go check them out. They'll obviously change a little bit once we get to Sunday and get some injury news. But, check those, play around with those, see what you disagree with, agree with, all that good stuff. Maybe you're off on a guy. Maybe you do your own projections. This would be a good time to check them out for free. Osmo's game plan live stream for NBA is also free today. So this is going to be something I'm going to check out after I'm done here, because I said I'm playing some NBA tonight. So I think I'm going to be checking this one out. Really cool video. I've seen parts of it just because I haven't been playing much NBA because I've been busy with NHL and site stuff. And I also stink at NBA. But I'm trying my hand tonight. And he kind of breaks down everything, answers questions, how you can set up certain things for Fantasy Cruncher for the specific slate. So this is a kind of an invaluable resource. And it's in front of the paywall today. So I'm going to post this link as well. If you're playing NBA, definitely want to check out this video. One of the main reasons to become an Osmo.com NBA subscriber specifically. I think he's live over here. Hey, what's up, Alex? We'll close him out. And we've got an NBA giveaway as well. So we're giving away just a ton of stuff. An Osmo Plus NBA Season Pass for the season. All you have to do, retweet, like, and reply to the following tweet and or with the player that scores the most fantasy points on tonight's slate. Pretty simple stuff. Takes like 2 seconds. Seeing a lot of free content on the site lately. Must be running low on subscribers. Actually, I don't think... I think you've got it backwards, to be honest. But, that's not really for me to talk about. I guess, you could think what you want. But, yeah, we're just, we want people to be a part of this. So, give them a little taste for free, and hopefully we can bring you in and make you part of our community. All right. So, that giveaway, let me post this also in chat. Just throwing all these links at you. All right, cool. What else do we got? All the free stuff. All right, that's out of the way. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Now, let's go to lineup study from last night. And then we'll look at the $10 from the Halloween slate. That was also a 2-gamer. So I think it's good to just see what some of the more respected players are doing. Yeah. I agree with you, Corsi. I don't know. I can't disclose anything anyways, so whatever. Not really my business. You guys can think what you want, but I mean, it is my business, but it's not really yours. So, what do we got here? $10 last night. So, a couple 150 maxers, guys that play a bunch of lineups up here. We'll look at them in a second. I always want to just give a quick shout out to the people that put in like a couple lineups and take it down. I think that's always pretty cool. It's really difficult to do this. So if you're playing one lineup, I would be more looking at single entry stuff. But always some interesting things win, and especially when things go weird. And last night was a perfect example of that. So you see the Casey Cizikas one-off right off the top. I mean, I didn't think Cizikas was that bad of a play. Like if you were getting super deep, you play the third line that's dirt cheap on an otherwise chalky team. I mean, that's just a way to be different. Cizikas one-off, I mean, I wouldn't have gotten there, but 1.3% owned, 26 points. That was massive. I believe had some run good, of course, with the Flames. Flames hadn't been doing much of anything so far this season, but they didn't really even bust out. You got, I think Gaudreau scored. Kachuk scored twice with the OT goal. Gio was massive. So I had been kind of saying the last few times that, I mentioned Gio because he's kind of getting brought up by these gaudy numbers from last season when I was just hammering him every single slate. It was, 30% Gio, 50% Gio, all that stuff. And I had kind of backed off of that. Well, last night I ended up playing a bunch of Gio. I think he was the best one of the best options on last night's slate. When you're paying up for defensemen, you got a little bit of a price bump or a price bump down. Plus, his ownership wasn't crazy because it wasn't a great spot. against Arizona, but he had also just been not like crushing lately. He had been consistent. He's been putting up decent points, but you hadn't seen the multi-point games. And last night he got there at 7%, under 7%. Fleury, pretty standard. Road goalie for 8,200. Interesting choice. Oh no, it wasn't a Cizikas one-off. That's right. It was Cizikas Clutterbuck. They were on the same line, I think, right? Am I dreaming this? Now I gotta check this out. They were on the same line, I think. Someone tell me. Someone knows in chat. Someone's plugged in on aisles 3. Anyways, B Mike 19. Nice job. 3 entries. 10K in profit. That's pretty cool. And look at this. 28.1% total ownership. Okay. He was active too. Yeah. Either way. I mean, it doesn't matter. Ballsy. Cizikas, Clutterbuck, Isles stack. Either way. Louis Mister, me and him tied for third here. He had, let's see, I think he ran out mostly 3-3 stacks. I think we had the exact same lineup. So it wasn't just that we ended up with the exact same number of points. I think we had the same top lineup here. So always nice when you play it, when you have one of the same lineup as a really good player. So I felt pretty decent about that. Obviously, you don't like to tie on an 11-game slate. But things ended up working out. I saw the check up there, stud, just crushing it after the millie, and just keeps crushing NHL DFS. I thought he was going to take it down there for a while. So let's look at Louis Mister's exposures here. Wow, super flat across the board. Just 20, like this, like kind of mimics the ownership projections that we had for at least a lot of these lines. Like we had Winnipeg in the 15% range. We had SJ up there, Chicago too. So nothing weird, just looks like full stacks across the board. Yeah, Victor Mete. Jeez. Last night has to be one of the biggest outlier slates of the year. For an 11 gamer, yeah, you like the winning score didn't even sniff 200 in the biggest tournament, right? How many times is that going to happen this year? I don't think very many. So, yeah, I agree. So the two line, like, okay, whatever. You see me up there, you see Louis Mister up there. So he wasn't heavy on the 2 stacks. It was San Jose 2, Hurdle, Gaudreau, and Timo Meier, with Philadelphia 1, I believe. Well, I can just look at this really quick. We had the exact same lineup. So, yeah, Philly 1. Okay, so I wanted to check his exposure. DFS is weird sometimes. Let's see. Let me just search for... Oops. Still figuring out this tool, no matter how often how long I spend on this. Let's just search for Giroux. Where is he at? So he had 4% Giroux. So I'm assuming 4% of this entire line. So not a lot. And then you look at Hurdle. Okay, 10.7%. So he was even heavier than me. You look at my exposures here. I had Hurdle at 8.7%. So I had, a decent amount of SJ2. But it wasn't like I was heavy on them. And then I had Giroux at 4.7. So it just ended up working out. Like 2 lines got put together. We had the right defenseman because you could afford them. And that was really it. Burns wasn't even crazy good last night or anything like that. So you look at my exposures. If you just look at, I keep messing this up. If you just look at my exposures, our exposures really, it was a little bit deceiving because Scheifele, Wheeler, Connor, Klingberg did nothing. Look at these scores. Okay, you got the Geo 30. No one here is really doing anything. Grubauer, one of my highest owned goalies. I think my highest owned goalie, actually. Like none of our top players did much of anything, especially not mine. So got pretty lucky there is the moral of the story, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have 30% of the nut line and you don't profit too. Just weird game. That was too much Klingberg in hindsight, I think. Yeah, I don't think I should have had 20% Klingberg, but this is brutal. Goose egg for your 38.7% owned defenseman. So escaped. I felt like I escaped there. All right, what do we got now? It's only 4:20 Eastern. Yikes. I guess we don't have to go the full hour anyways. I'm not going to just stay on here for the sake of staying on here, especially if you guys want to go watch Alex's live stream, which I suggest you do after the show because it is free. Okay. Weird slate. Oh, yeah, we were going to look at the two-gamer from like last Thursday. Let's see. Let's look at Laker Great. Actually, I just want to see exposures first. So not super heavy on anyone. I mean, when you look here compared to the exposure, this is how I like to mass multi-enter the two gamers. Like people will say, okay, ownership's so concentrated. Well, you have to take, you have to take stands on people. You have to full fade a chalk line or do something like that. And I don't think you have to do that on a two-game slate. If you're multi-entering, you certainly can, because if you're right on something, and you've got a much better chance. But that's any slate. So I like playing it more like this, more flatter exposure. You're getting exposure to a lot of the chalky players, but you're just getting a little bit different with your lineup construction, or you might be playing one or two lower-owned guys, a third line, two-man or something like that. Like that's all you really need to kind of gain that extra edge over the field. So let's see the amount of duplicates Laker Great had. This is pretty good on a two-game slate. 141 lineups. Looks like maybe 12 or 13 were actually duped, and then you've got all these chances by your lonesome. So it might be a 1v1 away from someone, but this is what I think you should kind of be shooting for by also having good exposures like that. He's playing all these good players. These are the chalkiest players on the slate. He's got them all, which I think is smart if you have 141 lineups. Larkin Ellis, yeah, they fought the other night. Why is Dylan Larkin fighting? Slewfoot ran out. Really, a lot of really unconventional stacks. So I didn't take a long look into Slewfoot, but only ran 50 lineups on this slate, which I was, maybe it was one of those things where he thinks it's suboptimal to run out more than a certain amount of lineups on a two-game slate. Maybe he just didn't like the slate. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he just wanted to do 50 lineups, but profited. The exposures, like he likes to run out a flatter exposure on a two-game slate as well with 50 lineups. So you don't have to get that crazy, is what I think. Larkin lost. I didn't even see it. I just heard about the fight, and I was like, someone tagged me. It's like, your boy's fighting. Well, that's great for DFS. Maybe back on the FanDuel days when you got like 0.01 points for a penalty minute or something, whatever it was. Not worth it. All right, let's talk about this slate because it's not, it's a two-game slate, so everyone knows what the good plays are. Well, we do have ownership up, so that actually makes for some pretty good talking points. Because there's a couple things I disagree with. Not that I disagree that I think the ownership's wrong, but there's a couple, some like stands I think you can take. Wow, Sam Gagne at 33% almost. That's crazy. Okay. What was my Slack message for? Yeah, Nolan, if you're watching, possibly new Rangers line. So anyways, Red Wings, Rangers, 3.1 implied total for the Wings, 3.4 for the Rangers. Jimmy Howard and Henrik Lundqvist in net. All these goalies confirmed. Really, the only thing I think we're waiting on here is whether or not we're going to get weird Rangers lines. And by weird, I mean Capo, Kako. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I think that's right. Doesn't matter. Kako skated on the top line with Strome and Panarin for a while. That would be a pretty cool line, fully correlated in a spot where you're going up against Detroit's kill and a 3.4 implied total. So, I prefer Kako up there, not only because it's late news that you get to react to, that's a lot of people will not. I think just give the guy a chance. We kind of know what Jesper Fast is at this point. When he's going to be low owned on a bigger slate, I'll play him in the stack. But here, he's going to be 20+% owned probably. And Rangers 1 is going to be really popular. Rangers 2 is going to be very popular. It's really, looking at the ownership projections here, there's kind of, there's 4 lines, really. It's Rangers 1, Rangers 2, Detroit 1, looks pretty heavily owned, and McDavid line. And those are the 4 best plays, I think. So it's difficult to try to mix and match these. Blues on back-to-back after OT win plus Jake Allen. Yes. That's why it's so tough to fade McDavid. Well, he's incredible, but Blues have been sneaky bad when you look at expected goals against and stuff like that. If you like looking at that stuff record-wise, I looked at the standings. I do this every couple weeks just to get a gauge on who's actually winning these games because I never keep track. I think the Blues are in first place. They're one of the best teams point-wise in the NHL. So kind of complete opposite of last year where they were super underperforming. This year they're kind of catching some good variance. But anyways, in this game, I don't think we're going to see much hard matching. Nemeth in play, probably not a terrible idea on a 2-game slate. He's going to play minutes, I suppose. You could do worse. No hard matching that I'm expecting here. Just waiting on the Rangers lines. Right now, if these stick, if it is Foss on the top line, I prefer the Rangers second line. It's really close in ownership between the two. If Kako goes on the top line, I will be, half an hour before lock, I will be heavier on, Rangers 1. At least that's my intention. So it's going to come down to the wire. You will have time to react. If you're using Cruncher, it's going to go really quick. Cholowski, I agree. Hronik should be on the power play. But if Rangers 1 was someone's top play, I'd be like, all right, I agree. Panarin, Strome playing a bunch of minutes. Panarin's just going to play a lot of minutes. He's expensive, but the double dong game, you could just see that happening here against a bad Detroit team. And especially with no one expected to see heavy minutes against the Larkin line, I think you probably see Strome and Panarin against the Larkin line the most, but that's just because a lot of those two lines are going to be playing a lot of minutes, so they're just going to end up going up against each other. It's not going to be intentional. At least I don't think so. On the Detroit side, it's Detroit 1 and Athanasiou for me. I've got a bunch of Athanasiou one-offs right now. He's just good at creating his own offense, like Cliffy says. Really good candidate for a one-off at 4,400. I will have some Detroit 1 with Athanasiou one-offs as well. Curious what site everyone uses for last-minute lineup check. Well, if you wanted to, here's a plug. NHL Free Week is the promo code for a free week of Osmo Plus. We post everything we can find leading up to lock in our premium Slack chat. So with that membership, you get literally a free week, free 7 days of Osmo Plus. You get projections, DraftKings ownership that I'm referring to, the Slack chat, rankings, all that good stuff. You get in Slack, and we'll alert the channel if we see anything weird on Twitter. But yeah, in general, I think Twitter is the best place you can find it. Late news, a lot of the sites don't react quick enough to make your changes. Detroit 1 is probably going to be my highest exposed line on the slate. It was just going to depend on ownership and see, okay, well, are they way ahead of everyone? Are they going to be 50%? No, it looks like they're stabilizing in the 30 to 40% range. And you're obviously going to get Bertuzzi. He's the guy that people leave off. They're all playing together the whole game, so I have no clue. Could this be the game that Mantha gets left off and Larkin and Bertuzzi score the goals? Sure, absolutely could be. So I'm going to try to full stack them as much as possible. But I will have them in two-man, like a bunch of different two-man combos. I'm running out the majority, 3-2-1s tonight. So I'm going to have some of everything, but basically all of my exposure will go through Detroit 1 and Athens CU, and then everyone else will just be filler shares of whatever else is left over. I'm running out 100 lineups tonight. I'm registered for 100 right now. I don't think I'm going to add the extra 41 or whatever. It'll probably just be 41 bad lineups, to be honest. So I like getting in the 50 to 100 range. And I'm seeing some, like I said, I think yesterday, some guys I really respect. Their game, they're running out like 50, 60, 70 lineups, 100 lineups or whatever on a two-gamer. So I kind of like that range anyways. On a slate like this, do you choose one goalie and make a stand on him? No. I've been playing every goalie tonight. I think I have every goalie above 15% on my most recent crunch. Yeah. My lowest goalie is Lundqvist at 16, but it's like, all right, yeah, he's probably, he's not going to see, he's probably going to see volume just because the Rangers are so bad, but it's going to be a lot of high danger volume. He's still good enough, I think, where he can steal you a game and stop 35 shots and get a win, and then you're the nut goalie. So I think every goalie on this slate has a path to being the nuts. I'm using more of my goalie exposure in the other game, though. Not forcing correlation, by the way. Testy Slewfoot, yep. On a small slate, then, if you're playing 2 to 3 tournament lineups, would you have 2 to 3 tournaments? Would you have 400 uniques or 100 lineups entered 4 times? About 400 unique lineups on a 2-game slate. Man, that seems like a lot. But I think in general, like if this was a normal size slate, I would say 400 uniques is probably your better option. The way I've learned from Alex is that you're trying to win one tournament, not necessarily all of them, to increase your long-term ROI. So more unique lineups is probably better. Still, I like when I play the mini max or whatever in the $10 or the $8, I've for the most part put 150 of the same lineups in there. So I guess do as I say, not as I do. It just depends what you think of the lineups. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I think the more optimal one is playing the 400 unique lineups, even though, like I said, I don't do that very often. Both these teams just got hammered. Wondering if coaches get them to tighten up tonight and play low-risk hockey. I mean, if you're going to get Larkin, Mantha, and Bertuzzi, and Panarin, and Buchnevich, and are those guys going to play low-risk hockey? I don't know. The defense cores are pretty bad for both sides. Mark Stahl back in the lineup for the Rangers. I guess the Rangers, well, at least they've got some young defensemen, right? They're not, you don't already know what they are. Detroit defense core is pretty bad. Are you a big Edel guy? Yeah, I do like him a lot for 4,500. But everyone does. So, Trouba right now, my favorite defenseman on the slate. 6K. Him and Tony D are priced closer together. So you like D'Angelo because he's on the top power play. At least he's listed there. Trouba's going to play a bunch with both the lines, both the Rangers' top 2 lines. Yeah, Nemeth playing low-risk hockey is giving up 3.4 goals. Well said. Although, I will say, Corsi pointed this out the other day. Nemeth and Hronik, they've actually been a really good pairing at 5-on-5. So don't be bad-mouthing Nemeth. Maybe last year, but this year, he could be a changed man. Who knows? Trouba, like I said, Trouba is my favorite defenseman right now. Love him. 6K, I'm finding a way to fit him in. And then Hronik is the guy I'd like to get to. The problem is he doesn't correlate that well to, or he doesn't correlate at all to Detroit 1 at on the power play. At 5-on-5, though, he's probably going to play a decent amount of minutes there. So I don't think it's out of the question that you can't play Hronik with Larkin and Bertuzzi because they're so good at 5-on-5 where it might not matter. My favorite goalie tonight, well, the goalie position I think should be outlawed. But anyways, the guy I have the most of, and this is probably why it should be outlawed, is Mike Smith. So, yeah, not great. And my second highest exposed goalie right now is Jake Allen. So, yeah, that's the state of goaltending tonight. It's very bad. I don't envy you one lineup Warriors tonight. It's brutal. Just clicking on any of these guys. Lundqvist, if he had a good team in front of him, or even a below average team. But yeah, should be outlawed. No, I'm kind of joking about that. Me playing a bunch of lineups, 150 a night or whatever, 100 a night. It's I'm gonna be on the wrong side of it half the time. I'm gonna be on the right side of it half the time. So, especially if I'm correlating on bigger slates, if your goalie gets blown up, well, okay, your stack's probably not doing well anyways if they're down 4-1. Yeah, on Yahoo you have to pick 2 goalies. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, but especially on a slate of this size. Scoring for goalie is too skewed. Yeah, right. There's the Jets and the Rangers and Detroit, there's going to be times where they win games this year where they're not supposed to, and it's because of their goalie. Even though I say these guys are bad, they're not actually bad. They're NHL goalies. A lot of them have the upside for 40 saves, and they allow 1 or 2 goals. And this year with the save bonus, you don't necessarily even have to win. If you get to overtime and you get the save bonus, that's 5 points. That's basically a win. So it's volume's king. So trying to adjust, and I still probably am not adjusting enough, but that's kind of the state of where we're at for Draftkings NHL DFS. On a 2-game slate, at least you only have 4 to pick from, right? So you got a 25% chance. I like when goalie scoring isn't the reason that a slate's won anyways. No matter what the scoring is. I like when teams and stacks decide it, just outlier performances. But that's just me. Blues, Oilers, other game here. Jake Allen and Mike Smith, another sexy matchup here. 2 great goalies, 2 great teams going at it. Okay, well, the Blues won the Cup last year, so I shouldn't be sarcastic about them. I think they're 9-3-1 or 10-3-1, something outrageous. You look at their numbers on Natural Stat Trick, like I said, or wherever you get your expected goal data. I don't know, is Corsica around anymore? I don't even know. I go on Natural Stat Trick, if you guys didn't already know that. Where is I at? So the Blues have been sneaky below average, I will call it, at 5-on-5 haven't been great. I don't really know why that would be the case. Like they essentially had the same personnel last year, right? And yeah, Bennington was outperforming. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic about Allen being a great goalie. I lumped in Mike Smith with that. No one thinks Smith is great, do they? Maybe the guys that think that, going out a million feet to play the puck for no reason is like a good for your team. Him and Stalock, you can miss me with all that. That's like the most tilting thing ever to play those guys and actually watch them. I guess he can be, but a lot of goalies can be great for one night and then suck for a week straight. Okay. Matchups here. Kind of another situation where McDavid's going to play a lot of minutes. Kind of balanced top 6 here for the Blues. I don't know. I mean, it's McDavid and Draisaitl with Gagne. I kind of like Gagne up there for $2,700. You like the price, obviously. It's going to increase the ownership a little bit. Edmonton has been okay defensively. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair to say. Much better than you kind of would have expected. So McDavid's going to go up against the top 2 lines a lot. It's not a fantastic matchup when you just look at forwards, but like I said, Blues overall have been meh in their own end, and it is McDavid. He can overcome any matchup. It's a 2-game slate too, so like, how many games is he actually left off the score sheet? If he does anything here, him and Draisaitl, even if they have a 60th percentile performance, there's a decent chance that they're probably going to end up in some of the best lineups of the night. At least that's how I look at it. Just throwing random numbers around there, but I think you get the idea. So super expensive, but with Gagne makes it worth it. I'll have full stacks. I will leave some some Gagne out. I will have 2-man stacks with Edmonton as well. I will have like some McDavid, Draisaitl with Nugent Hopkins and Clefbaum power play stacks, or Neal, same thing. I think it's really all in play. It's just the worst when you play McDavid. You play an Edmonton stack like Nugent Hopkins and Neal without McDavid, because it feels like it's a little bit easier to do it on a 2-game slate because, like I said, you're just looking for those raw points. But like on a normal slate, when you're looking for the outlier performance, pretty brutal to try to imagine a scenario in which Edmonton scores 3-4 goals and McDavid's not scoring, like getting 2 or 3 points type of thing. Here on a 2-game slate, like I said, probably irrelevant. You're just looking for raw points. 1 goal can change the entire complexion of the slate from Zach Kassian, for example. Got to grab some Nickelback. Yeah, that's a good one. Rob Thomas, Matchbox 20. He became Nickelback in Slack the other night. So if anybody's wondering what Vought said, I like that one. Neal's going to be the guy left off for me a lot. It's going to be a lot of Nugent Hopkins one-offs. Like I said, I'm going to have him with the power play stack for the Oilers. I'm even going to have some like McDavid, Gagne stacks. 2-man stacks without Draisaitl, which is pretty scary because the OT McDavid to Draisaitl to McDavid is going to be pretty brutal. If you're fading them in OT, it feels like they score every time from each other. When you play single lineups in single entry contests, do you favor chalky players? No, not necessarily. I still think you should be a little bit different. Like, you shouldn't just jam in the 2 chalk lines, 3-3, and just lock it in. If your 2 best lines are going to be pretty, like one of them is going to be pretty low owned, then sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, except when you have them, right? That's every time else, it feels like, or every time otherwise, it feels like they score from each other. The blue side is kind of tough to unravel. Right now, I'm leaning more towards Shen Schwartz, and then Perron, O'Reilly, just playing the good guys as two-mans. Like, I'm scrolling through my lineups. I don't see a lot of full line stacks for St. Louis 2. There's a couple for St. Louis 1. I'm probably going to end up forcing in a couple stacks of both of these with 3-2-1s, them being my 3, just because you are getting some low-owned guys in Sanford and Thomas, Nickelback. I'm pretty much sticking to the top 2 lines on all teams tonight. There's not really a third line that sticks out. So that's why I'm more advocating for 3-2-1 and just playing decent players. Vikings at Cowboys? What about that? This is I play NHL or NFL DFS, but I don't know. I think I'm like a break-even player this year at best. Love watching Oilers OT games. Yeah, a lot of space for an insane player in McDavid. You like Josh Stack tonight? For sure. Any 2-game slate, I think. 3-game slate, 4-game slate even. The Josh Stack is in play for anyone that doesn't know what a Josh Stack is. It's named after Josh Harris. Josh Stack would be something like this, where you're using 5-6 players, mostly 6 players, and usually you add in the goalie, and you're just onslaughting a team, essentially. So people call it onslaught in football. Onslaught, we call it the Josh Stack around here, because Josh took down a huge tournament with, I think, Blackhawks 1 and Blackhawks 2 back in the day. So got deemed the Josh Stack. Clefbaum and Nurse are both up there in the, they're in my top 4 defensemen as well, along with Trouba. Justin Falk is a guy I keep getting. You look at him third pairing, and it's probably more because I need to look into him, but he's playing, last game he played 20 minutes, played 17. Okay, that's kind of bad, but 18, 19, 24, 22, 23, he's been all over the place for minutes. So even if I project him at 18, 19, I'm still getting a decent amount for 3,700. Is he overdue to start scoring? I don't know. He must be attempting a decent amount of shots. My data's updated. I think I updated it yesterday morning, and every couple of days, and he just keeps popping up. And I have this year's stats weighted. If he was slowing way down, I wouldn't be getting him even for 3,700, but I still am getting to him the most so far. Vots just posted a scouting the refs link. Oh God, do we have a Furman alert? Falk is notorious for shooting right into the goalie's chest pad. Yeah, last year Falk had he had a pass to no one in the playoffs that led to a goal. I think maybe against the Capitals in the first series, the opening round series of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It was just amazing. He stinks, but yeah. Never played him on the Canes. Well, yeah, he was top power play, and then he just kept being there. So DK prices him up, and Carolina was a decent team for the majority of last year, and so he would be $5K, and yeah, that was a pretty easy pass. But 3,700 here. It's not like the Blues have a bad decor. It's pretty deep. Parayko, Pietrangelo, Dunn. They're not a bad defenseman core. So I'm not getting to a lot of Pietrangelo, but he would be the guy you obviously get to if you're going to O'Reilly, Perron, Shen, Schwartz, any of those 4 guys. But I'm trying to find a way to get heavy on St. Louis because they're going to be the team that's kind of getting forgotten about tonight. Looking through, Pietrangelo is the highest owned guy in their team, and on a 2-game slate, only one player is above 18%. And then everyone else is low owned on St. Louis. So I feel like I should be getting over on something here if I'm incorporating these ownership projections, right? Because it's not out of the question that something here is the nuts for St. Louis. I think what's most likely to happen for me here is probably that I play more of the Shen, Schwartz, Thomas line, or maybe leave Thomas off. And just hope they get into a high event matchup with the McDavid line when they're on the ice. O'Reilly's a decent one-off center at 5,700, but like feels like he hasn't done much of anything this season. He had 1 4-point game. That's right. Actually, he has 2 4-point games, and then you look at the rest of his lineups or his games, and he's got one other game over. Wow, man, that is some weird game logs. Just look at O'Reilly's game logs. 1.5, 17.8, 6.5, 6.3, 43.3, 5.8, 7.8, 1.5, 3, 2.6, 1.3, 3, 29.5. So it's come in bunches for good old Ryan O'Reilly. You fading a team completely when they're matched up against the goalie you're rostering. Is that... Are you asking if I'm allowing players against my goalie? Because right now the plan is to allow 1 against my goalie. These are some pretty bad goalies. Maybe you allow 2, but usually on a 2-game slate I allow 1. So yeah. Oh really? Yeah, 3,200. Not a bad option. But I agree with the chalk. So even for a 2-game slate, like I guess my big stand here would just be I'm playing a lot of Detroit 1 more than what we have for ownership. I'm full stacking them. I'm doing a bunch of Detroit onslaughts with like these guys and Athanasiou and one of the defensemen. It's just how I think that's a pretty good ownership spot relatively on a 2-game slate, even though they're all like 30% owned. Rangers D has been so bad this year, like worse than the NHL by a pretty good margin. And Detroit 1 is fantastic, as I always talk about. They're just so good at even strength that it a lot of times doesn't even matter, and this couldn't be a better spot for them. I mean, it could be if they were at home, I guess. But outside of that, 3.1 implied total on the road for Detroit is wild. That just shows how bad the Rags are. Anything else we need to talk about here? We made it through 50 minutes somehow. I think I was a little bit late, so maybe like 47 minutes. But if not, we can get out here and you guys can go check out the Osmo's game plan. Oh, how much money do you leave on the table when making lineups on a small slate? Just depends what you're comfortable with. It depends how many lineups you're running out. Like if you're running 3-3s and you're just hammering like the 3-3 lineup construction, and you're probably like you might have lineups that have like 42,000 on Draftkings. I don't really recommend that, but looking at what I have right now, my lowest lineup when running 3-2-1s is 46,700. So it might even be a little bit lower than that once I get closer to lock. But yeah, we'll have some with 2,000-3,000 left on the table. I think that's fine on a 2-game slate. Yeah, it's still about correlation, right? Correlation still matters. It matters less on a 2-game slate, but it still matters. You still want to be scoring. You still want multiple guys to be scoring when an event happens, a goal happens. That's how I look at it. All right. Very good. Fun slate. Don't check the scores until, I don't know, third period starts of the Blues game and see if you're sweating, and then hopefully have yourself a sweat. I always say don't go crazy with volume on a 2-game slate, but I still think They can be profitable long term. Maybe just play a little bit less, play some NBA. Go check out Alex's Awesemo's NBA game plan live stream. I'll post this link once again. So right when I'm done, you guys can go watch this. I'm going to be doing so by myself over here. NFL DFS projections, Awesemo's projections are free today. These are actually Awesemo's projections. So go look at those. What else do we got? I think NHL projections. Let me check on this. I think NHL projections are free today. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, NHL player projections are also free. So go here, player projections. There you go. Oh yeah, likes. I always forget to ask for likes. If you guys could, please drop me, I guess, but the channel really a like. That would be very much appreciated. Helps us continue to do this kind of content. It seems like a bunch of you have liked it and reached out, so very appreciative of that. What else do we got? This giveaway takes 2 seconds. If you want to win an NBA Awesemo Plus package, go check that out. And we have this. We're doing this new thing on NBA streams where content's going to become free as we get more likes. So we really want your likes. Is the moral of the story here. So if you like helping us out, if you want more free stuff, I guess hitting the like button is how you do that, especially on the NBA shows. Shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. They're awesome. They sponsor us, low management fees. Very, very good stuff. If you're looking to just get into DFS or, if you're having trouble on other sites, Yahoo is a great place to play. And it's also just a great place to play if you like money because you're saving money on management fees. So no real reason to not be playing some on Yahoo. They've got some nice NBA contests. I've got the NFL ones up there. 10K to first tonight, but they've also got some lower prize pools at lower price points. Pretty cool stuff. So go help out Yahoo because they help us out. Let's see. Tomorrow, I think it's a 12 gamer, something like that. I'm going to look up the schedule, and then I will leave. And you guys are off to make your 2-game slate lineups. 11-game slate tomorrow. Looks like a pretty good one. So it'll be myself and Nolan Kelly. Per usual, promo code NHL Free Week is how you get a free week of Awesemo Plus if you want to try out everything. The Draftkings ownership projections, player projections, premium Slack with office hours from myself and Nolan, and then access to Alex and Vots and Chris Wassel and all these other good analysts. Feel free to check that out. And it's free. So you get a free 7 days. You can cancel whenever you want. No real reason to not take advantage. All right, guys. I'm done plugging stuff. Thanks for joining. Once again, feel free to hit the like button on the way out. And I will catch you back tomorrow. Good luck.